Hi there, I hope you're doing well. I am sitting outside. It's a nice day, it's a little bit chilly, hence why I have my hoodie zipped up to my chin. Um, Truth be told, the reason why I'm sitting out here is because the budgies are screaming more than normal. Um, if I haven't explained this before, Pocket is the daughter of the two other budgies, and well, I decided to have a family reunion. I pushed them all together and they had a nice little time talking and singing. But when I put them back, now they're screaming. And I think they're screaming at me. But that's okay. I thought that I would talk to you today about something that I think is pretty important, and that is the cultivation of two of the most important things that I think change our art and change our life. And that is the cultivation of compassion and the cultivation of creativity. Now, let's talk about creativity first. If you are artistic by any stretch, you probably already have, a good deal of creativity. But that said, we always need to be, how could I put it? Well, I call it cultivating it. We need to be working on it. We need to be flexing that muscle. We need to be trying new things. We need to, kind of force ourselves to see things differently all the time, to, take time out of our day to sometimes just watch the leaves blowing. We need to learn to let go of our, monkey mind that sits there chattering away, kind of like the budgies. Um, yeah, actually, it's a lot like that. A lot of the time, our mind gets away on us, and it, just shrieks and chirps and sings and does a whole lot of things that, drags us away from being more mindful and more present in the moment and seeing things how they really should be. To be creative, we need to allow ourselves to push past all of that, you know, chunky thing that goes on between our ears sometimes, where we get caught up, where we, get detracted and distracted, whichever is the better word, from what's really going on. It's like the difference between seeing a tree and really seeing a tree. Seeing a tree and then noticing how it blows in the wind, noticing the variation of color of the tree, noticing, the different leaves and the way the branches grow. And, if you have ever tried painting a tree and realize you don't actually know what a tree looks like, you'll know what I mean. Trees are not what we thought they were when we were, 7 years old and sitting down drawing with crayons. They are a whole lot different, and every tree is, beautiful in its own way, but every tree is very, very unique. And the same is with everything. So what we need to try to do is learn to cultivate and work that creative muscle. And we can do that in little ways, and we can do that in big ways. One way that I think is really important, and I've talked about this a lot, is that we need to create every day. That's why a sketchbook is a great idea. And force yourself to open that thing up and do something every single day. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be some lines, it could be some splotches of paint, it could be a whole lot of paint. It could be, break out those crayons and get using them, or whatever turns your crank. I saw one of the people that watches the channel recently was painting with coffee. And I was like, man, actually, coffee with a feather. That is so awesome. And I think it's a waste of coffee. And I hope you're getting some today. but I think it's brilliant. I would be licking the painting all the time, trying to get that coffee goodness into me. But that's so awesome, and that's creative, and that is what we need to do more of. Really try things and see what we can come up with. And then when you look back on it later, you're gonna think you're a freaking genius. Of course, if you get any time in this world, you start to realize that there's nothing new and that we're all just, reaching into the same pot and pulling stuff out and putting it back. The other thing that we need to do is to cultivate compassion. And I've talked about this before, and I don't think I can talk about it enough. We have to learn to be kind to ourselves. We have to learn to forgive ourselves. We have to learn to understand that we are all human beings, and we are prone to mistakes. We are prone to doing stupid things. We are prone to being emotional, selfish, greedy, angry, you name it, impulsive. But we are also able to do great things. And the more that we learn to forgive ourselves, the more that we learn to be kind to ourselves, the more that we learn to see ourselves as imperfect, but perfectly imperfect, the more that amazing things can happen. And not only that, but when we learn to cultivate compassion for ourselves, we will find that that can grow, so that we can start to have compassion for other living things as well. And I think that is honestly the greatest thing that us human beings can do, and it's something that we need to do. Let's face it, this planet of ours, it needs a whole bunch of us to cultivate compassion and kindness and to treat each other and this world a little bit better. When you watch the news and you see all the terrible things that people do to each other, and I don't have to say it too much, that could all change if people were a little more kind to themselves and then learn to be kind to each other. Now, it's also one of the hardest things to learn in this life. It's one of those things that we can pay lip service to and believe that we are being compassionate, believe in compassion, want to be compassionate, and then you find yourself doing the exact opposite. I know I've fallen into that trap, but nowadays, more than ever, I have found myself being able to do this. And I think that it comes from learning to slow down, learning to appreciate things, learning to enjoy a cup of tea every day, learning to say, hey, you know what? I am going to spend some time just drawing or just painting. It means watching that hummingbird that flies not into the window, hopefully, in the window, and hovering there staring at you. It means watching the birds as they fly over, and a whole lot of other things that make our lives worthwhile. We tend in this life to do the opposite. We tend to rush. We tend to act like we have forever on this planet, and we really don't. And the more that we can slow down and enjoy this moment, learn to be more mindful, then compassion can start to grow. And when you start to put those two C's together, cultivating compassion and cultivating creativity, when those come together, there's the hummingbird right now. Can you hear it? When we cultivate those two things together, amazing things can happen. And what you'll find is not only will your art improve, because you'll try new things and cool things, and you'll love that you made mistakes, and you will, grow from those things. And you'll also love the depth and the growth that the process brings. You'll find that the more that you do this, it spreads to every facet of your life. And the reality is nothing is the same after. So, what I would suggest is that you at least try to have some compassion for yourself, and you try to allow yourself to have a little more creativity, and try to spread that into the world. And you'd be amazed what happens when you do. And I think I'll leave it there today. So let me know how you're doing. Say hello. Spread the word about this channel and what I'm trying to do here, and what we are trying to do here together. And I would love to see what you're up to. You can find me on Instagram. And other than that, just keep being awesome and have yourself a great day. See you later.